Hello everyone, how is it going? I'm sorry for being gone for 15 days. I think I was gone for 15 days. I think my last video was 15 days ago. No, practically a whole month ago, like a month and 15 days approximately. I am sorry. Work kind of got in the way. I was just kind of really busy with work, and it just kind of got in the way. I have a job. Yeah, I have a full-time job. So sometimes it's just kind of difficult for me to put out videos because of my job. So yeah. Anyway, we're gonna talk about Kagurabachi chapter 65, and these latest chapters have been really interesting because I like that we finally addressed the elephant in the room, and that's Chihiro's swordsman abilities, because he's been a really good swordsman, but primarily because he has kind of fought with thugs, and he hasn't really fought against, I guess, actual other swordsmen, but primarily he has been relying way too much on Enten. And I like that we have been made aware of that situation, because fought against Sojo, which Sojo had just gotten the enchanted blade, and he was practically almost on par with Chihiro, who had been using it for a little more while and kind of had more knowledge of the enchanted blades. And then he fought against Rokuhira. No, not Rokuhira. He fought against I forgot his name, Hikaru, or what the fuck is his name? He fought in his villain in the auction. He fought against that guy who I don't think was like a swordsman. He wasn't an actual fighter. He was more like a support character. So yeah, he hasn't really fought against, I guess, fighters, and which is really interesting because Chihiro does know that he has had more time wielding. He's had more time to wield an enchanted blade than, for example, the original samurai, but he does have that advantage where he has used the enchanted blade more time than them, but he doesn't have as much swordsmanship capabilities or experience than them. So Chihiro has been kind of just really having to depend on his enchanted blade more than his own swordsman abilities. And now that he doesn't have it, he doesn't really have the capabilities to use proper swordsmanship, but he is showing a lot of talent because he is starting to use the EI white purity style. Granted, he still hasn't perfected it because when he tries to do it a second time, this other character gets in his way. Now, I kind of predict that this guy, I don't know his name, he's going to betray the Hishaku, and he's gonna come help Chihiro train, or at least he's not gonna betray the Hishaku, but at least he's gonna tell them, listen dudes, I'm gonna train Chihiro and then I'll be right back. I'm pretty sure, I hope he does become Chihiro's master or trainer, because Chihiro kind of has to learn by himself swordsmanship, and I would really like a training arc where Chihiro learns from somebody else how to use the sword, because he doesn't know how to use the sword properly. He's been using it and he understands Enten's abilities to a T, and when he fought against Sojo, he just learned how to use it even more. He came into a deeper connection with it, but he doesn't really know how to use swordsmanship properly, because nobody has really taught him how to do so. So I really hope that this guy ends up helping Chihiro train, and because Chihiro has been using the EI white purity style mostly because of just watching it happen, just observation, which is really impressive, but at the same time he still needs someone to train him, which is really really impressive, right? And what I've been liking about Chihiro's new arc is the fact that he's learning how to trust other people and give them work, let them work. Because so far Chihiro has been the type of guy of I got to do everything by myself. and I like that these guys, his new partners, are like, dude, you got to help us help you out. We're a team. We know how to do this stuff. And I think that's really true. And I think that's exactly how it should go down, because if Samura, who is an enchanted blade user and a master swordsman, relied on these guys to help, why shouldn't Chihiro? And I'm glad that Chihiro has enough humility to just kind of learn that he can depend on them. And I don't think it has to do with being with like humility or with thinking too much of yourself. But Chihiro does kind of feel like, oh, I got a big responsibility. I got to do it myself, and that's not usually the case. So I'm liking that he's learning his own defects, which his defects are he doesn't really know swordsmanship because nobody has ever taught him swordsmanship. And number two, he needs to learn how to depend on other people and receive help from other people. So yeah, that's the thing with Chihiro, right? And I'm liking this whole situation. And about the whole situation with Samura's daughter, I think that while I agree with Chihiro in the sense that she has to decide by herself if she's going to keep the memories, I think they do have to make a tough call and still erase her memories. Because I think in the end, if they let her make the decision to not forget Samura and to keep her memories, it's going to come back and bite them in the ass, and it's going to make things much more difficult. They are in this hotel, right? Granted, they already know what Samura's daughter looks like, but they could do a better job at hiding her. Either way, I think it's still, again, it's very good progression on Chihiro's part to give her that choice. And I want to imagine that she's going to take the choice of not forgetting Samura, her father, and they're going to take her to meet him. And I think she's going to be a very interesting plot device towards just kind of in general make it so that Samura ends up not going through with his plan and just going back to like the good guys. I think at this point, she is a very interesting plot device, and I think that she is going to be used in that way to get Samura to be back on the good side. I think that's option A, and if it's not an option, at least what Takeru is doing is putting out options. Again, like he's been doing very greatly, is just putting out options so that he can later use. So if it turns out that Samura's daughter keeps her memories of him, then she is an option to potentially one day in one chapter stop Samura, right? So and again, we still haven't had confirmation that Uraha is dead, so Uraha is still an option to train Chihiro, for example. So that's the thing, right? That's the whole situation. Is what Takeru does really well is just give options, put them in the background so that he can use them later on, just in case he kind of has to use them. And he does a really good job at tracking them, which again, this is a prime example of having a good editor and being able to jot down your ideas and keep them in the burner just in case you have to use them later on. And yeah, so that's the whole situation. And I really like this whole idea of this hotel that is hidden from everything and you can't really detect what's inside. It gave me huge John Wick Continental vibes. I don't know why, it just gave me those vibes, and I thought that was, pretty interesting. Again, I like the world building from this manga, even if it does happen at specific parts and small portions. And lastly, what I want to talk about is I really liked that scene, that part where Chihiro remembers his father and is like, even through all of this, I would still choose to be with my father again, and I enjoyed my time with my father. I think it's very touching. I think it's very cute. I think it's very nice. And yeah, I like Chihiro's character. I think he's a really good character. And I think that, he should continue working hard and just, working on his mental health, because I feel like these ninja are going to help him a lot. And I really hope that they are recurring characters. They stick with him. And I hope that nothing happens to them in this arc. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. Sorry for leaving, for such a long time. But, work is work. And when you got to work, you got to work. Anyway, thank you guys. And I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.